So we've been talking about this woman, Katie Britt, for a few days now. And one of the things that she was lamenting was Biden's border policy and how it's created this migrant issue. Well, come to find out, she actually helped to create the bipartisan border security bill, but then voted against it because Trump wanted to keep everything in disarray. He didn't want there to actually be a consensus and to help fix the border crisis because he knew that that would probably help his campaign. So he told the Republicans to vote against it. Also, you hear people talk and they say, well, what are the Dems doing about it? What are the Dems doing about it? I like Trump because he got things done. And when people say things like that, it reminds me that so many people don't understand or realize how complicated it is to get laws passed, and that any sitting president is not a king that can just sign laws into place, that there is a process. So today, I'm going to use this Katie Britt brouhaha, the border crisis and the migrant crisis, to speak about how laws get turned into laws because we do not have a king here. And the Dems in charge, simply because we have a Democratic president, doesn't mean that the Dems can just pass laws. It takes bipartisanship to pass federal laws. So this was an article back in February, and there were several articles back in February that was talking about how the border bill, which was bipartisan, was getting scrapped. And it really just got scrapped because Trump said he didn't want them to pass it because he did not want there to actually be a fix. He wanted to use the chaos as a um, for his campaign. Okay, the title of this one, Border Bill Faces Uphill Climb Amid Growing GOP Opposition. And this was back in February. The bipartisan border bill is looking increasingly like it's in trouble as Republicans call for more time to review the legislation, and a growing number make clear they have no intention of allowing it to proceed in its current form. Also, Republicans did work on this border bill. This is from the Daily Oklahoman. Why are Republicans attacking Langford, who is a Republican from Oklahoma, on the border bill? What we know. Amid the ongoing immigration crisis, Oklahoma County Republicans on Saturday censured U.S. Senator James Langford for his work in crafting the bipartisan deal to secure the U.S. Mexico border. The overwhelming vote to censure the senior Republican senator came at the party convention in Oklahoma City, attended by an estimated 225 members of the GOP. The censure came a month after the border package died on the Senate floor. Why did Langford take up the bipartisan border bill? House Republicans tapped Langford to negotiate the bipartisan border deal. Langford and his fellow negotiators spent months on the package as the southern border buckled with immigrants. In December, there were 302,034 encounters at the southern border, or an average of 97 per day, according to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. What was in the failed border bill Langford negotiated? The $118 billion border package addressed the crisis at the U.S. Mexico border and included new aid for Ukraine, Israel, and other U.S. allies. The proposal would have expanded detention capacity while making it harder for people to qualify for asylum. Now, that sounds like something that the Republicans actually wanted. They don't really want these people to come here and apply for asylum. They do want people to be detained. They Republicans were getting more in this bill than the Democrats wanted, but the Democrats were still working with these people for a border bill. But Republicans squashed it. This article is back in February. Senate border deal is already more than halfway to getting blocked. According to Politico's tally of all 100 senators, there are already 24 noes and likely no votes on the bipartisan immigration bill. So here are many of the Republican noes. I'm underlining Katie Britt, but Katie Britt was actually working on this bill. Some Democrats wanted to vote no as well. They felt that this bill was too far right. Like this one says right here, Padilla, whose long aired worries that the border negotiations were moving too far right to the right for his taste, said there's a lot of calls and meetings that are happening. He predicted that the amendments would solidify Democratic support either. I don't see Republicans going for amendments that would make the package better. So these people simply did not want to work together. And when you know a little bit about how laws are passed, you know that these people, D's and R's, have to work together to get things passed, unless the president has a House and Senate that are both a majority where things can get done a lot easier and it doesn't need bipartisan support. Now I'm going back to the Daily Oklahoman article. In the weeks leading up to the border package vote in February, former President Donald Trump, leveraging his popularity with GOP voters, lobbied Republicans in Congress to oppose the deal. Trump has made it clear he plans to make immigration a central platform for his 2024 reelection bid. He posted to Truth Social that he opposed a border package unless we get everything needed to shut down the invasion at the southern border. At the bottom, ahead of the vote on the bill, many Republicans called it dead on arrival. Now, I want to talk about the fact that the current state of Republicans are basically Trumpublicans. They have a fealty to Trump. They are not looking out for the best interest of the United States. They are looking to kiss the ring of Trump. And he is their leader, even though he's not in office. He's still obviously pulling the strings. So nothing is going to get done. It's going to be a very unfruitful Congress and lawmaking session until after the election because Trump is still, the puppet master of these people. To pass a bill or a bill to actually become a law, there are several steps. And I don't really watch all of these steps because it is so laborious. There has to be a sponsor for the bill. They'd have to introduce the bill. The bill goes to committee, then it goes to subcommittee, and then it gets voted on. They write out the language. It gets voted on in either the House or the Senate, and then it goes to the other house to get voted on or get amended. If it does get amended, it has to go back to the other chamber, and then it has to get voted on, and then it goes back to the other chamber, and then um, once the House and the Senate agree on a bill and they vote on it, everything is like cool. Then they send it off to the president to sign. And this is one of the reasons why voting in voting in elections that's not just the presidential elections are so important because who is in the House and Senate makes a big difference in how things get done in this country. That's the reason why it's so frustrating talking to people and talking about politics when they say, I like Trump because he got things done. Donald Trump had both the House and the Senate when he came into office in 2017. The Republican Party retained their majority in both the House and the Senate. And with the inauguration of Donald Trump on January 20th, 2017, attained an overall federal government trifecta for the first time since 2005. So he was able to get things done because he had the House and the Senate, and they were able to move things through the process a lot easier. They were able to take on the things that were on his agenda. The midterms, though, were a referendum on Trump. People were not happy, obviously, with his job. So basically, the Democrats swooped in and picked up a net gain of 40 seats in the House. So then there became somewhat of a balance of power because the Republicans still retained the Senate, but the Democrats had the House. I know I'm giving a whole lot of information, but people need to know why Dems just can't do something. It's impossible because Democrats and Republicans have to actually work together. And when one is just like, nope, we're not going to work with the other side because someone like Trump is saying, don't work with them, and they're basically kissing the ring of Trump, then no, nothing is going to get done because of how bills become law and how the executive branch and the legislative branch have to work together. I hope this makes sense. I hope that people really do understand why elections top to bottom are so important. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Don't forget. I also want to remind us that the instability of Southern America, the instability going on in Venezuela, is because of America and our allies and what we did to destabilize them. America is an imperialist country. We go into other countries supposedly bringing freedom and democracy, and we are destabilizing them, their economy, and helping cause the ruckus and the violence that makes people need to leave. And so, what is going on right now at the southern border has been years in the making. It has been decades in the making. You can look up, you can Google the history of what is going on in Venezuela and what the United States has done. And some of this happened in the Obama years. It is not one president that is doing all of the destabilization. This is going back decades. The United States has done things like bring democracy, bring freedom, and really help choose their leaders so that we as a country could get their oil and resources from these countries. We go in, we strip them of their resources, their economies get destabilized, and then there's violence, and then their people come up to America. And then the citizens that don't know that America plays these games in other people's country are wondering, why are all these people coming up here? What is the Democrats going to do? And they're like, we need Trump. Trump will shut down the border. No, we as a country need to understand that our government goes in and destabilizes these countries. We as a country might not know or understand everything that our country is doing behind the scenes, but a lot of these humanitarian crises are at the hands of our government that's coming in and trying to strip resources from other countries because we are the big bully like that. All right. Y'all let me know what you think. If you have exact names and history of what we did in Venezuela during the second term of Obama, go ahead, drop it in the comments because I know that, this didn't just happen. This has been going on for years. And there is a reason why all of these people are walking thousands of miles to get away from their country. And it's not just because America is just that much greater. Let me know what you think. Let me know your comments and any history that you might already know.